Good afternoon, everybody. Namaskar. Welcome to 57th meeting of Think Tank. Because as I see, there are so many new faces, those who have entered into the room. I thought of telling something about what about Think Tank. It was actually initiated in 2013, the initiative of late Sudhanshu Bhushan Mishra, and then there are top bureaucrats, uh, and then academicians, professors, all are involved in it. And we have also published a book on topical issues. We periodically conduct the seminars and all these things. And today, on a very topic, as I was telling, as Professor Dr. Pani was telling, it's a very important issue. And this time, we wanted to outreach the people, those who are actually the players in the tourism department. That is the travelers, tourism tourist operators, all these people are invited. They are there. They are entering into the room. And then today we are very much fortunate have Secretary of Tourism Department, Mr. Vishal Dev, to be with us. And you all know, because rightly Dr. Pani has said, who doesn't know Vishal Dev? He's the man behind the World Cup, Hockey World Cup 2018 that put Bhubaneswar into the global map. And then he is some sort of a role model as an event manager. And then he's an IAS officer of 1996 batch. And then he had many important posts of Odisha. And then today he's anchoring the tourism department. And we are sure, sir, that with his stewardship, this the industry will overcome this pandemic crisis. And welcome, sir. Welcome to this webinar. And today we have got another very important expert in tourism, that is Sitikant Mishra. He's Professor Director Sitikant Mishra, is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad and a PhD in Business Administration from Utkal University. During his career spanning more than 4 decades, he has made significant contribution in many fields, be it in financial management, service management, tourism management, management of ethics and values, and corporate governance. He excelled. He was the director of Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, IITTM, Gwalior, and administrator of IITTM Bhubaneswar Center, chairman of All India Board of Hospitality and Tourism Management, and member of the Executive Committee of All India Council of Technical Education, AICTE. He has also served as the chairman of the Accreditation Evaluation Committee of National Board of Accreditation, NBA. He was member of the many central and state consulting committees. Presently, he is working as advisor cum Dean Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism Management, SOI Deemed University, Bhubaneswar. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the webinar. And today we have got another distinguished person, J.K. Mohanty, fondly known as JK. And JK is a pioneer in the hospitality industry and played a leading role in promoting Odisha as a tourist destination. He runs a chain of very popular Swasti brand hotels like Swasti Tilka Resort, Swasti Palm Resort. He is the right man to give his first-hand narrative of COVID crisis in tourism sector. Welcome, sir. Welcome this. And as you all know, we have got another 2 architects of tourism policy and vision of Odisha, that is Dr. Subhash Pani and Vivek Patnaik. Vivek Patnaik, I need not introduce them, both of them. Vivek Patnaik is Vivek Patnaik. He is an institution himself, and he is and also Dr. Subhash Pani. They are the founding member of Think Tank. They are the mentor, guide, and friend, philosopher of Think Tank. Welcome, sir. And now the floor is with Dr. Pani. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, without losing time, as I said, let us get started. We have at least 5 speakers, and then Patnaik sir will give his summarizing of the issues, and I will also give my comments in between a little bit, and then at the end. So let us start with the keynote address by Vishal. He has already been introduced. Let us hear him first.
Thank you, sir. First of all, namaskar and good evening to everyone. I can see many of my very respected senior colleagues. Vivek sir is there, Dr. Pani is there. In fact, I work very closely with Dr. Pani when he was chief secretary. And a lot of things that we're doing in tourism, sir, actually, I remember you used to talk about some of these initiatives back then also. Having said that, Dr. Pani also mentioned about the strange times that we're going through, an unprecedented, pandemic which has caused havoc, immense suffering, and disruption in the lives of almost the entire mankind across the world. Coming to the topic straight away, revival of the tourism sector in Odisha. Let me just give a brief background. We all know that COVID has affected almost every sector. The issue with the tourism is that it's by and large understood that it's the worst affected sector, and it's also the sector which is being said that it will take the longest time to recover. Industries can start immediately, but you see, travel tourism is something which requires people to travel and stay at a place which is not their home. So therefore, that apprehension of people, whether it's safe to travel, whether it's safe to stay somewhere else, it is generally assumed that it'll take a much longer time for this sector to recover. Of course, we have very divergent opinions. We have the Reserve Bank of India, which a couple of weeks back said that tourism is likely to have a V-shaped recovery, which means a much faster recovery than what is expected. And this is also buttressed by the Condé Nast Traveler, which was taken up some time back, wherein it said that 81% people said that the first thing that they want to do once the pandemic situation improves is that they want to travel. And again, just a couple of weeks back when Himachal announced that the state is open for tourism, there were 60,000 people in Shimla in a matter of 2 days. So this gives us hope that there is a huge latent demand, and the sector is likely to see a faster recovery. But on the other hand, again, we have some rather pessimistic views. So in the Economic Times Global Business Summit, which was held some time back, Mr. Glenn Fogel, the CEO of Booking Holdings, which runs the bookings.com website, said that tourism sector will take at least 3 years to recover. So the truth lies somewhere between these two extremes, though one hopes that things turn out better, as at the soonest possible. So this $1 million question stares all of us in the tourism, travel and hospitality sector as to what would the way forward be. That is something which everyone is grappling with. And over the last 3 months, having been a part of several such discussions, there is a term which has been brought out, which is survive, revive, and thrive. So these are the 3 phases that almost all sectors, but particularly tourism, will take. So right now we're talking of how will the sector survive. Post that, the issue of reviving comes up, and finally thrive. I think because of the latent demand, because of the change in preferences of people, we have people who are wanting to travel, to see the world. Thrive is not really an issue, but the concern is the first 2 stages, surviving and reviving. Sometime back, the government of India had announced a package of incentives for the industrial sector. Unfortunately, tourism was left out of it, which was a matter of great disappointment. Within the state, we have made recommendations to the government with regard to some package, particularly deferment and waiver of property tax, which is called holding tax here. We're talking about bar license fees. And one of the major demands was that the electricity charges should be based on the actual consumption rather than on the minimum demand load. We thought it was a very genuine and a very valid suggestion, and we have made recommendations to the government, which is pending. I think so. No decision has been taken by the state government so far for any sector. So we are hopeful that something should get announced. We're following up regularly. The issue again is, government is also faced with a double whammy. While the demands for support, financial and otherwise, have gone up tremendously, the revenue side has really gone down. So while the government wants to support and there is a huge demand for financial support as well as non-financial support, the ability of the government to provide such support is limited by the fact that the revenue of the government has gone down. So that's a challenge for us. Moving forward, so when we talk of surviving right now, I think it kind of calls for a change of focus and a change in direction. So one is, it's very clear that there will be apprehensions of people. There are, in fact, of people traveling by air as well as by rail. So traveling by road is coming out to be a preferred option. And I'll talk about what we plan to do from Odisha side also. But the focus, so therefore this issue of visa restrictions is also there. International flights are yet to be resumed. So it's quite clear that for the next 2 years at least, the focus of the tourism, travel, hospitality sector would be domestic tourism. And we, in fact, much before COVID, I think we had changed our gears. We had a meeting at the highest levels, and we said that rather than running after foreign tourists, it's better for Odisha to focus on domestic tourists because it's a huge market. So as per figures, we have about 1 crore of domestic tourists visiting us. In 2018, we had about 1.04 crore domestic tourist visitors vis-a-vis just 1 lakh foreign tourists which visited Odisha. So I think it's a very skewed kind of a breakup, and therefore, if you're talking about moving forward, again, focusing on domestic tourism makes a lot of sense for us. The second aspect would be, in fact, the most important, is ensuring health and safety protocols. If we have to encourage tourism, if we have to encourage people to visit our state, giving them that confidence and that we are a safe place to visit is extremely important, perhaps priority number one. And therefore, I think a lot will depend on our ability to give that confidence to people that Odisha is a safe place to visit. Towards that end, we have taken up a program of sensitizing people across the hospitality and travel and tourism sector to apprise them about the protocols of COVID, which have been issued by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare as well as Ministry of Tourism. We have tweaked them a little bit to suit our local requirements, and we've started a training program in association with IHM and IITTM. We are conducting training programs. We've almost covered more than 600 members of the community, which manages our 47 nature camps. And we are also planning to have a half-a-day program for employees of the hospitality sector, particularly employees of restaurants, hotels, to make them aware about the protocols that exist. Because this would, to my mind, this would remain the number one priority for anyone wanting to visit the state. The other thing which is also happening across the country, in fact, is there is a focus on rediscovering local. I don't know how many of you have seen the most recent, issues of magazines like Outlook Traveler or Condé Nast. They're all focusing and talking about, rediscovering our own cities and our own areas. So there have been articles on Hyderabad, on Delhi. So within Odisha also, we are doing a similar exercise, which I'll just come to. And then we are saying that also the focus has to be on niche experiences. So I'm saying 4 things, just to summarize. One is focus on domestic tourism, health and safety protocols, rediscovering the local, and niche curated experiences for people. Within Odisha, I mentioned to you about the program that we've taken up in collaboration with IHM and IITTM about health and safety protocols being widely disseminated across all stakeholders. So last year, we'd also done a training program for taxi and cab drivers. So drivers of various travel agencies as well as drivers of Uber, Ola, etc. We'd given them a general training program on how to greet, Atithi Devo Bhava in that line, and we are now going to be doing it for COVID protocols. So having realized that air and rail travel would take some time to pick up, and the focus would be on road, we have launched a campaign called Odisha by Road on the World Tourism Day on 27th of September. It was announced by Honorable Chief Minister himself. And what we've done is that we've worked out 7 itineraries for tourists and visitors from neighboring states and cities. So starting from Vizag in Telangana, Raipur, Raigad, Bilaspur, and Bhilai in Chhattisgarh, Jamshedpur, Ranchi in Jharkhand, and Calcutta, of course. We have worked out very detailed itineraries, which start with, let's say, the moment you enter Odisha border. From there on, where are the places where you can take a break? Where are the restaurants located, wayside amenities, etc. And all of it is hosted on our website. We are also going to be organizing virtual roadshows with tour operators in all these cities in association with FICCI. So this is a program which I think will make a lot of difference. We are not going as far as Delhi or something, because road journeys typically will not be more than 8 to 12, 10 hours. So within this journey time, we are encouraging people to travel. We are also putting up hoardings and issuing advertisements in these local cities. The idea is to popularize our destinations, our itineraries. The second decision that we have taken is that we will promote Odisha tourism through Odia cuisine. So the little experience that we had with promoting Odia cuisine, outside Odisha, and inviting renowned chefs to come to Odisha has been very successful. Many of you would be knowing of a restaurant called Bombay Canteen in Bombay, which is run by the owner and chef his name is Thomas Zakaria. He was in Odisha for a week. We had invited him, and he was delighted with what he saw, our spread of cuisine. He went back and he has done several editions of Odia food festivals in his own restaurant, which has become very popular with the Odia community and others in Bombay. We have done a webinar also. We are in the process of getting a group of chefs, mostly from Odisha, who are in places like Leela, in Trident, Mumbai, etc. The idea is that we will organize Odia cuisine festivals in all the metros and all the tier 2 cities also. So last year we had started with this program called Roadshows. We did it in 11 cities and the response was phenomenal. So in Bombay, I remember there were 140 tour operators. Mr. J.K. Mahanti's team was also there, along with several of our own tour operators, etc. And the Bombay-based tour operators mentioned that, sir, we didn't know that there is so much to see and do in Odisha. We thought that Odisha is basically about Jagannath Puri and Konark. So, and this was the feedback that we got at a whole lot of cities. So it was very encouraging when we heard people appreciate what we have. Our wildlife, our heritage is something which a whole lot of people are not aware of. So from the visibility point also, I think it's very important to tell the whole country as to what is it that we have. And we were present at 2 airports till last year, Delhi and Mumbai. Many of you would have seen it. We are now present at all the 6 major airports, all the 6 metro airports, along with Mumbai Metro also. So that has also made a lot of difference. Odia cuisine, again, we are starting a chain of restaurants which will serve authentic Odia cuisine. This is being initiated by OTDC. The restaurant name is called Nimantran. We are starting off with Bhubaneswar, Puri and Sambalpur. And we will then expand. We are getting a brand new team to work on this, because OTDC's own staff, their motivation, their ability to serve, their attitude, etc. There are issues about that. So we're getting a new team to work on this, and we are also starting 3 food trucks exclusively for promoting Odia cuisine. So one would be Nimantran, would be, let's say, a fine dining Odia cuisine restaurant. The food trucks would serve people at large on the roads, etc. We many of you would remember that we had done a glamping festival called Marine Drive Eco Retreat at Konark last year, which was hugely successful. We are now replicating it at 4 other places apart from Konark. So Daringbadi, Bhitarkanika, Satkosia, and Debrigad Hirakud. We are doing it at these 5 places. We are also introducing houseboats in Bhitarkanika and in Chilka to start off with. We'll take it to Debrigad later. and we are also starting river cruises. So we'd issued an expression of interest asking agencies to tell us about to apply if they are keen on starting river cruises in Odisha, and we have got a very encouraging response. 17 agencies have responded to this expression of interest, about 5 from Odisha and the remaining from outside Odisha. So there is a lot of interest in participating in projects of Odisha tourism. We also realized that projects like the Eco Retreat are important from one point that ideally we would like the Oberois and the Tajs of the world to come and set up hotels at all our tourist places, but it is very difficult, and there is an issue of whether they're willing and ready to invest. So Eco Retreat, we figured out, was a very good way of popularizing and highlighting a destination and its strengths, and therefore this initiative of doing it at other places also. Over the last 6 months, we've spent a considerable amount of time on working out specific circuits and planning for integrated master plan and development of these areas. So we have about 358 destinations which are classified as tourist destinations, and every year there is this crazy demand for putting in 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs in each of the places, which doesn't result in any significant development. And I had a chat with my Honorable Minister, and I told him that, sir, if this is the way we continue, Odisha tourism cannot improve even in the next 50 years. And we therefore have to focus on a limited number of destinations. So we have worked out 13 destinations spread over 9 circuits, and these are the areas which we'll really focus on. We have also been working on the policy front. So the Odisha tourism policy is due for, a new policy has to come out in 2021, which is going to be coterminous with the industrial policy resolution. So we're working on that. In addition, we are also working on a homestay policy at few locations where there is a dearth of quality accommodation. So what we have decided is that we will be giving an assistance of up to 6 lakh rupees for upgrading facilities for each homestay at the rate of 1 lakh per room. Homestay policy, and then we are also working on a boat replacement policy. Both these policies would be out in the next 2 months. So boat replacement, we are starting off with Chilka. The idea being that all the wooden boats which are used for tourism should be replaced by brand new, technologically advanced boats. We will be giving 50% subsidy, 40% would be the bank loan, and 10% would be the contribution of the beneficiary. This, along with the legislative framework by way of a Tourism Facilitation and Regulation Act, is these are some of the initiatives which we have worked out. A very important issue also is that we earlier this year, in the month of February, we signed an MOU with the government of Gujarat for interstate cooperation. So we said we will promote Gujarat within Odisha, you promote Odisha within Gujarat. A similar arrangement we have initiated with these 4 neighboring states of ours: West Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Andhra Pradesh. And we also suggested to the government of India that there has to be a focus on long duration regional circuits. So if someone is coming to West Bengal, perhaps if they extend their stay by a few more days, they could visit Odisha, they could visit Jharkhand. So we have asked that focus should be given on long duration regional circuits also. These are some of the things that we are doing. I'm glad that I got an opportunity to share with all of you. I'm sure we'll get some suggestions. We welcome suggestions and feedback from you. Of course, we would want Odisha to be one of the most sought after states as far as tourism is concerned. Thank you all so much for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you are on mute, sir. Dr. Pani, sir, you are on mute, sir.
Okay, so I'm thanking you for giving us a perspective of what your thoughts are and how you are trying to do some innovative things. And while that is most welcome, I think we have also to continue to capitalize on some of our existing strengths and existing destinations. I'll come to that later. Now, I would request Professor Sitikant Misra, who is an academic and a professional, to give his remarks. And before that, I want to mention, if Dr. Mahapatra, Ashok Mahapatra wants to make any short intervention because he said that he's going to go away at 5:30. So if you want to make a brief couple of minutes comments, I think he can finish that and then we can.
Thank you, sir. I think it is very good topic because Odisha tourism is doing very well. As I heard from our Dev Sahab, because they are going to charge, they make many things like a houseboat, and they are also having the chain of restaurants of the typical Odia cuisine. I am sure, actually, we are not been able to tap tourism. A country like Puerto Rico or small country like Fiji or even Mauritius, they make more money than bigger countries. So Odisha has a very big potential of making huge amount of economic impact by doing tourism and hotel management. So I think in next one decade, maybe it's a very long process to develop hotels and tourism and all this. So if we are starting now or we have started 5 years back, I'm sure in 10 years time, maybe 2030 or 28, like our new education policy, 2025, 2035, 2040. So it is a continuous process and process has started already. I'm sure in 10 years time, we will have a good effect result. Let us hope for the best. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's hear now Dr. Sthitikanth Mishra. Dr. Mishra.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, online. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
I was listening to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ashok Mahapatra. Very briefly, he covered Vitancha, Sarancha, Pachohi, Vagmita, that is perhaps the essence what I now plan to speak. Esteemed panelist, Sri Vishal Kumar Dev, Commissioner cum Secretary, Government Odisha, Department of Tourism, Mr. J.K. Mahanti, CMD Hosti, Group of Hotels and Travels, as well as Chairman of Haro, Mr. Vivek Patnaik, former Chairman OPSC and former Secretary, Tourism and Culture, Dr. Subhas Pani, former Director, Tourism and Culture and former Secretary, former Chief Secretary and Chief Secretary of Odisha, Dr. Tamotia, Secretary General, and Mr. Suresh Patnaik, the convener, think tank of Odisha. Friends, I'm thankful to the office bearers of think tank of Odisha for giving me share my thoughts in this webinar on a very important topic today, revival and prospects of tourism in Odisha. But after listening from Mr. Vishal Dev, I strongly feel has he left anything for me to speak now. He has covered briefly all aspects of our topic. So I do not know whether I will again bore you by covering some of the issues he has brought before us, but I'll try to avoid it. Anyway, let me go straight. I'll not talk about the pandemic, post-pandemic scenario now, since it has been widely covered by Mr. Dev. What I was watching, and all of you will agree, that in the last 1.5 years, some praiseworthy initiatives have been taken by the government of Odisha. So far, the tourism development is concerned, particularly the infrastructural development of Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar, which you call the Golden Triangle of Odisha. I'm sure it will definitely bring a boost towards our tourism once this pandemic will be over. However, I'm worried unless the following issues are addressed properly, it would be very difficult for us to attract more tourists. And I'll start with the infrastructural issues. All you know that about the dilapidated infrastructure we have. poor maintenance. And from 2016 onwards, we are still debating about a new tourism policy after 20 years. Allied infrastructure is also very poor and negligible, like transport, communication. And particularly, this accommodation sector is concerned. I was thinking that when Kerala has more than 900-star hotels, in the last 20 years, Odisha has only 9-star hotels. Yes, I have to add one more, thanks to Mr. JK, that he has good hotel in Varpur, but it has not been given a tag by the Minister of Tourism. So that's why it's not been reflected in the website. But even if you take 10 hotels, last 20 years, you have to think it again. No attempt to build infrastructure for MICE or business travelers segment. Yes, it may not come immediately after this pandemic, but it's a real area where you can get many tourists, particularly in Bhubaneswar. I'm told that there's no place, no convention center which can accommodate even 2,000 people. Last time we have a function in which the chief secretary was telling us that Sikkim has a convention center of 1,500 per hour, the biggest in the state. So to conduct any function, in the last of the before pandemic, the medical institutions in Odisha, they organized a function. I've seen the way they are conducting, putting the infrastructure temporarily. Yes, you have low budgetary allocation, and that cannot really help for the proper management of infrastructure. No clean and functioning toilets, basic necessities like safe drinking water facilities. Currently, Odisha's position is 20th for domestic and 21st for the foreign tourist arrivals in the state ranking. And in 2019-20 does not yet come, but what I'm telling you, it is 18-19. As regards the policy, government issues, I said that we do not have a policy in the last 20 years. Tourism is not a focused area, even in the state policy. No specific initiative to attract private capital for tourism sector. Defunct state tourism promotion board or similar name they have given. No special interest group commodities. Tribal tourism related orders issues not very conducive to ethnic tourism. No performance linked entrepreneurship in spite of a long coastal belt. Many other important water bodies like Chilka. No visible efforts for aqua-based tourism. I think they will conclude lack of political will. Coming back to other issues of marketing, Odisha, perhaps everything for everyone. No clear-cut positioning. No great digital marketing campaign. Traditional marketing has its limitations and particularly does not suit to the millennial travelers. Ethnic, rural, and adventure sports with the call of the day, but we are still in cultural tourism only. As regards the employment, HR issues, because we talk about employment and HR because tourism gives the more employment invest in the same amount of money. We have aging workforce, no reskilling initiative, lack of work culture, no replacement of post-retirement positions, not in tourism in any other areas also, no growth opportunity and career movement. Obviously it is. If any unit is not functioning in our OTDC, no strategy to make it viable. Just I returned from attending one of the MDPs conducted by IIT team. Director of Tourism was also there. But I observed that of late some changes are now visible. I'll thank the secretary. When I asked the participants or the managers of OTDC, they're talking that how they're spending their time in lockdown and shutdown. It came to my mind that for 27 years in the jail when Nelson Mandela was released, journalists asked him, Mr. Mandela, how could you survive for 3 decades in the jail? Keep it quote and unquote, he said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. Why I'm telling it, Secretary rightly said that in this period, they're preparing to face the challenges of tourism tomorrow. They have a long plan not to make training and development as an event, but as a culture. Thank you, Mr. Dev. Thank you, the team. So for investment issues are concerned, very less layout of overall state budget, no per capita investment, no public-private partnership worth mentioning, community-based involvement is poor. One thing came to my mind, and I also agree with the Secretary of Tourism, and the Director also said the same thing, that OTDC was created in a time when there is no other private entrepreneurs who are interested to open the accommodation in such areas. Yes, I remember that after our independence, when we organized so many programs in Delhi, capital city, India did not have a 5-star hotel in its capital city. That's the reason it was decided to have a 5-star hotel, and it is government initiation, promotion and funding, Ashoka Hotel was created. Subsequently, ITDC was created and many other accommodation or activities have been taken. Why I'm telling it? Because as a student of management, we have observed that the government in relation with the industry or business, and also equally applicable for tourism sector, there are 4 roles of the government. Government is the policy maker, government is the promoter, government of course is the regulator, and the last role, government is an entrepreneur. When no other private entrepreneurs are interested to come up, then it is the role of the government to come and perform the role as an entrepreneur. But we have abundance of hotels in different parts of our state, so also in the country. I think we have to identify different roles for our OTDC and similarly for ITDC and other public enterprises in different sectors. Having said that, let me come to the opportunities. What are the opportunities is really impressive. Once we have a responsive tourism policy to be made in consultation with the Government of India and the other stakeholders. Many other issues I hope will be addressed, including the coastal highway projects from Digha to Gopalpur, and the leisure and recreational opportunities can be created. Promotion of domestic tourism is the call of the hour. Less international travels are expected. Secretary said, you also will agree with that. Maybe not immediately. We should have to focus on local, national or domestic tourism, not international, for the next 2-3 years. Be working on the tribal tourism as you are losing market in the neighboring states, Andhra Pradesh and particularly Andhra Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. So we must have a conducive policy, rules and regulations on promotion of ethnic tourism. More focus should be given to the business to business or MICE segment. And as I told you, we must have the infrastructure for the MICE segment too, including the convention center. Simitbal, Uttarkanika, and Satkosia but Secretary said, yes, it should be promoted. And it can work also as an adventure tourism. Aggressive promotion of the PPP mode of investment, particularly in the state, has 300 acres of land bank, which many other states do not have, which investors can use for hotels, resorts, conference hall, theme park, entertainment zones like the Disney World and many others. Yes, since we have around 500 kilometers of each issue, I'll request the Secretary Tourism, he can request the Secretary Government Tourism, Government Minister of Tourism, that we have an IIT center in Bhubaneswar. So in Goa, there is a National Institute of Water Sports. It is a center of IITTM. And when I say water sports, let us not say that they are preparing sportspersons for Olympics. They are giving training for the water-related, water-based, aqua-based tourism in our country. And they can have a center in Bhubaneswar. From Bhubaneswar center, they can train our people in different places. Now, coming back to all these issues, first we do a strategy. Aggressive promotion of public-private partnership for investment. Government cannot spend more, and particularly after this pandemic. We all know what is the present situation so far the government finance is concerned. It's very difficult for government to spend more money on infrastructure development. So we have to depend more on PPP, and for that we must have a inclusive policy marketing. Government needs to understand about the collective intelligence. Since the smartest person is outside the room, there should be an inclusive policy making. We should think about sale or rebuilding of the existing dilapidated buildings, infrastructure which are really sunk cost, invite fresh investment to build modern facilities at existing old buildings of Pantaniwas, Jataniwas, whatever you call it. Hospitality and tourism needs young and dynamic professionals to handle new generation of travelers. So to think about those who are not prepared to be retrained to develop their new skills, so you can give them golden handshake. Destination co-promotion is a co-person strategy which is being followed by many destinations. Before pandemic, I'm told that in 2021, Go Airs are partners for many states. So circuit promotion in place of single destination promotion will bring.
Dr. Mishra, you should wind
So I'll
up.
take another 2 minutes, sir.
Ah.
Will bring destination promotion cost down. Forest, wildlife, adventure tourism without new toast. So along with the traditional cultural tourism, we should focus or reposition ourselves in the place of TW experience. We should focus on training and creation of new grade of tourism. And again, repeat it, let us not make it an event related with the culture. Very strong digital marketing campaign is essential. Confidence building measures should be made through familiarization trips after this pandemic. We should invite journalists, travel writers, bloggers from other states, and maybe after that from the other countries. Virtual tour of places of tourism importance can be made during this pandemic period, and use of social media platforms should be used. Alternative accommodation like tents, homestay may be encouraged. Last year, what the Secretary said, successfully we have organized eco-retreat in Konark, and now government is planning to have another 4 or 5 places to do it. We welcome it, but with the word of caution, we should not continue it for longer period, maybe initially 1 or 2 years, fine, but when you go for a cost-benefit analysis, because one of my scholars is doing this cost-benefit analysis of the tents or eco-retreats, so it's not to be recommended for the government with bigger fund to continue it for longer period. Yes, for this annual 2 or 3 years, we can do it, and I must congratulate the government and support it. We must conduct review meetings with the trade association, trade bodies, which are conducted, but is again a ritual, not regularly. The community and residents of the neighbor areas are to be associated. It's high time for the state for all-around development of some important tourist spots which I get to say, not to spread the bigger amount with all these tourist, so-called tourist places we have. Yes, we can do it stage-wise. One thing I'll to the attention, the new education policy, it has given one recommendation to all schools and colleges that you should encourage the students. The policy recognizes that the knowledge of the rich diversity of our country should be imbibed by first-time learners. This should mean including simple activities like tourism by students to different parts of the country, which should not only give a boost to tourism, but will also lead to the understanding and appreciation of a diversity, culture, tradition, knowledge of different parts of India. Towards this direction, Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat government has decided to identify almost 100 destinations in the country, and it will definitely help the education institutions now after this new education for 2020 to send their students after the pandemic condition. Odisha should take advantage and proactive to invite the students to our state. Before closing my address, was thinking to quote some slokos, because when I was going through the presentation, what particularly we planned today, 20 years back, Professor Gautam Maha was one of the visiting faculty in IIT team. In 100 slokos has covered all aspects of it. Because time is now over, Dr. Vani has given me the first warning, so I have no time to say, but I conclude what my school teacher, Pandit Sudarshan has said after writing 500 slokos on Odisha. He said, he said, I cannot compare my state to any other state. Like I cannot compare my motherland to any other land. That's the reason. If that feeling should be there, I hope Odisha will definitely be brought at least best 10 places or best 10 states in our country first within 5 years. With these words, I thank the organizers, and again I make apology if I have crossed my time limit. Sarve bhavantu sukhino, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani passantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, again.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra, and you have covered a lot of ground, and I think you have provided food for thought for the participants today. We will now have Mr. J.K. Mahanti, one of the most experienced persons in the tourism sector. He has been a hotelier, restaurateur, and he has now spread his wings wide now, and he also knows the industry from inside out. So I think all of you will be happy to hear him, and without any further loss of time, I invite JK to give his presentation, and we'll try and limit it to about 12 to 15 minutes at best, because thereafter we'll have some time for the other small short interventions, and then also have enough time for participation of the audience to the extent we'll have time left. So JK, you can start your presentation now.
Thank you, sir. So rather than giving any presentation, for me today's session is more of learning. And I have been learning from beginning. When Dr. Pani was Director Tourism, those years, we made a road show in Jammu and Kashmir. He had bravely invited Dr. Farooq Abdullah, the then Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, where we presented the art, craft, culture, cuisine, everything of Odisha. An Italian girl, Karin Lowen, I remember, she performed the Odissi dance there. And the tour operators, travel agents of India, and some from foreign countries also were there. Foreign travel writers were also there. They were just astonished to see the Odissi dance, our culture, and the presentation how Dr. Pani made to woo tourists. And till today, I think it was in 84 or 85, till today, the tour operators in India still ask, how's Dr. Pani? I think that's the impact he left behind. After Dr. Pani, I have seen Mr. Vivek Patnaik, who was our tourism secretary for some time. He took a bold step of inviting all the tourist officers of Odisha to a meeting to meet the hoteliers, tour operators, travel agents, and for an interaction. I think that was the first time the tourist officers got a view of a good hotel and interaction with hoteliers. I think that was also quite an eye-opener. I have always been learning, and I'm still a learner, and I'm still student of Dr. Pani and Mr. Vivek Patnaik, who was, when he was MD Epicol, I think that is the time which was the golden era for the tourism industry. And those days, Mr. L.A. Parija was the industry secretary. I think almost 200 hotels were put up in the state of Odisha between Bhubaneswar, Puri, Angul, all over the state. I think it was Odisha was the first state in the country to declare hotels as industry. And the government gave 30% capital investment subsidy and 5% interest subsidy. And all of us who were in different segments of business, all of us jumped into the hotel industry. I think almost 200 hotels came up during that time. Some survived, some could not, but tourism was an eye-opener. And when those hotels came up, at that time, surprisingly, there was no fight between Bhubaneswar and Delhi. So we again went back to the Chief Minister, Mr. J.V. Patnaik, and requested him there should be a flight. And that time, 3 days flight per week started between Bhubaneswar, Varanasi, and Delhi. So that is the past. I come from 1981. I've been in the tourism business, and we are still struggling to grow. Now I will tell the present status after Mr. Vijal Dev has taken over. I don't know whether he's still in the audience or not. There has been a big change in the tourism sector. He has made, he has brought the sports people, the sports department also jointly with the tourism department, and we made big name all over in the World Hockey Championship and all those games which were there, and the way the glamping festival and all those things. I think Odisha is making a big name. But I have see, everybody has big suggestions. I don't have very big suggestions, but I have one or two suggestions which I think Mr. Vishal Dev will recently hear. And one of them is, you see, Puri is being rebuilt as a modern heritage city, and I congratulate the government of Odisha for cleaning up the Puri town and doing such wonderful things. But one thing I will suggest is, see, we are doing many things. What we require is a long-term infrastructure. Tourism department and the private sector can jointly put up some long-term infrastructures and then go for massive publicity campaign. One thing which Puri we can do is, we attract a lot of tourists to Puri. Even foreign tourists also come. Non-Hindus also come. But non-Hindus and foreign tourists are not allowed into the Puri temple. I don't say that we should allow them into the Puri temple, but at least the library which the Jagannath temple library which is being redone, if the government wants, they can put up a big project of the history and culture of the Jagannath temple, a sound and light program. If when foreigners and non-Odias, non-Hindus, they come, they can sit in that hall and see how the Jagannath temple was built, how it originated, and what is the history and history behind the Jagannath culture. I think that will be a big attraction for non-Hindus and foreigners to visit Puri. That is one of my suggestions. Secondly, a long-term infrastructure like an entertainment or a game park like the Disney World. Government has acquired 1,000 acres of land in Samuka Beach. I think one such project will attract huge investment, hoteliers and tourists to the state. These will be the long-term infrastructures that the government can think of developing. The other problem which we regularly face in the tourism department is regular change of the director tourism and secretary tourism posts. We have therefore suggested the government should form a tourism development board with a 5-year tenure and give them a target of how many tourists are there today and how many tourists we expect in next 5 years. And what is the infrastructure requirement, what is the investment requirement in next 5 years. If such a planning can be done by the government and 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, like your education policy, I think that will help the tourism and the wins. You see, every time a new minister comes or a new government comes, they have their priorities and the priorities change, and that is why there are 356 tourist destinations in Odisha. How many are there? 8 lakhs. We are promoting tourism in a big way. How many rooms are there in Bhitarkanika? How many there in Satkosia? How many there in all those major tourist destinations which we are promoting? I think we require additional 5,000 hotel rooms in this state. When Kerala has about 49,000 hotel rooms which we are promoting, they are able to get maximum domestic as well as foreign tourists to the state. We have only 9-star category hotels and 600-star category rooms in Odisha, which is the lowest in the country. I think that is where the government should come forward, and like Kerala did, Kerala, they gave land to hoteliers in and land payable in 7 equal price payable in 7 equal installments. People came forward. They did not have to invest in land, they invested in infrastructure. A lot of hotels came up. But here, when we think of auctioning land to the hoteliers, we are not sitting in Nariman Point that we will auction and people will run and buy land here. So that, I think, is a policy which I strongly oppose. But I think the government auctions land, and that is why we don't have much investor. You see, Samuka, when Mr. Asit Tripathi was the Secretary of Tourism, he advertised that Samuka 1,000 acres of land now is available for international hoteliers to come up and put resorts here. 9 international chains they applied, but suddenly the plan changed and they said they would auction the land in Samuka. And till today, Samuka is barren. Samuka is barren. The Samuka project, I think, was conceived as a special tourism area in the year 1990. Till today, we have not been able to build the Samuka. I think it is a serious concern where a major investment can happen and it can be a game changer for tourism to Odisha. Other thing, I will not talk about COVID. The government has given industry status to the hotels and the tourism sector, but other departments don't recognize hotels as tourism sector. We don't get industrial tariff on electricity. During this pandemic situation, the staff did not get salary. The hotels were locked up. The hoteliers still have to pay bar license fees. Even the bars are closed. Hotels have to pay minimum demand charges on electricity. Even if you don't use electricity, hotels have to pay BMC charges, the land holding charges, even if they are closed. So government should have considered. You see, we have made appeals 1,000 times. Government has not considered anything regarding helping the tourism sector, how it will survive. We are only talking over Zoom, we are only talking big things. But the industry is in a very bad position today. It needs help, a genuine help from the government, not words and talking. Apart from this, we were having the Vayadut flight to Jaipur. Those were the days when a lot of foreign tourists were visiting Koraput. They were visiting the tribes and other places. The Jaipur airport is to be revived, and I think Mrs. Usha Padi, we spoke to her, and she has assured the Jaipur airport in Koraput would be revived in next 6 months, and that is, I think, a good news. The other thing is, in 2014, Honorable Chief Minister laid the foundation stone for a uh, world-class convention center in Bhubaneswar. That was in 2014 in collaboration with the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center people opened their office and the office is in Airport Tower. But till now, decision is pending regarding this World Trade Center. We have adequate land. I think IDCO can be a major partner and they have enough funds for this. But the decision for this World Trade Center, I think, can be a game changer for Odisha tourism. And regarding guides is another thing. If we are promoting to France, Italy, Germany, Spain, we need foreign-speaking guides. That is also another lacuna which we have, and we don't have adequate guides. Last, not the least, I will not take time. I will only say that 22 million Indian tourists were spending 1.65 lakh crores every year going to foreign countries and spending this foreign exchange. Today, they will not go to foreign countries. They will stay within India. And that 1,65,000 crores spent by Indian tourists will be spent within India. Now the question is, how far can we succeed in getting a share of this 1,65,000 crores rupees to Odisha with only 9-star category hotels? I think when in last 20 years, when every state was adding 5,000, 6,000 hotel rooms, we did not add hotel rooms in last 20 years. That is our biggest drawback. I think in next 5 years, we need to add at least 5 to 10,000 hotel rooms in major tourist locations to meet the requirements of these Indian high-class Indian tourists who want to visit. We have beautiful destinations, but we must back it up with infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. I think you have given some good insights and good suggestions also. We will discuss on that a little later when we open the house for discussion. And right now we have two people who wanted to make short interventions, only 2-3 minutes. And one is Mr. Malay Misra. I don't know whether he's around. He is one of our retired foreign service officers who is from Puri, and he has, instead of choosing to stay in Delhi or any metro, he has, I think, come back to Puri. So if he's around, let us hear him. Mr. Malay Misra, are you around?
Yes, sir. I am very much here. Yeah.
Please make a short intervention because we are constrained by time.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Good evening to you all, participants, Secretary. I actually, as Dr. Pani mentioned, I am a retired ambassador from the Foreign Service and have been living in Puri after my retirement. And I just completed a doctorate, not in tourism, in some other subject. But I am linked to tourism in the sense that I own a small homestay in Puri, where I live. Therefore, I am connected to tourism. I am heartened to note from the Secretary's point that they are going to have a homestay policy. I am looking forward to see what that policy would entail, because homestay, for some odd reason, has been left out from the hotel-oriented tourism policy of Odisha. So let's put homestay also. They are an integral part, as you know, Mr. Dev. It's a part of the global tourism map now. Homestays are very much in demand, and Airbnb has been promoting homestays all over the world. Having said that, I must also say that I have traveled to a good number of tourist destinations all over the world, and have attended a lot of these tourist marts in important places like Berlin, London, other places also. I have some experience of how Odisha tourism as a part of India tourism projects itself. Well, not much to talk about, frankly. And I will be critical here because I think there's a lot of things which you need to do. And it is good to start little by little rather than taking everything at one sweep. We do not have the capacity, we do not have the means, So please let us go slowly and see what are our priority areas. Now, the first priority I would say is the need for proper infrastructure building. There are many OTDC hotels I have seen. I have spent time also in there. They are in very shabby condition, and not many people would like to go and stay in those OTDC hotels where the managers are also not there to answer to your queries and indifferent, callous, etc. So we must have proper infrastructure development in the state. Since you are talking of road tourism and you expect now domestic tourism to be flourishing on the roads, you must also develop the roads in the interior parts of Odisha where you would be running your ecotourism. If the road is not proper, when the person goes there, he will curse your tourism instead of praising your tourism, because by the time he would have reached there, maybe a tire of his would have been punctured on the way or some other calamity. So that also has to be taken care of. And secondly, I think your ecotourism sector, I feel, is a little high priced. I was checking the rates in these recently, constructed, managed by community managed ecotourism centers. They cost something like 5,000 to 6,000 rupees per night. Now, I doubt if, a couple coming all the way from somewhere, they will have 6,000 rupees per night to afford. Maybe your intervention as the Secretary Tourism would go some way in rationalizing the price structure of these infrastructure. It's a good idea. It's a good idea to develop ecotourism. It's developing all over the place. We should also do that. But the pricing is very important to attract people. If a tourist goes for a better price in Goa or to Kerala, he won't come to Odisha. And price is a very important consideration, which I would like to keep with you. The third aspect, what I would feel is that people talked about Puri. I belong to Puri. I'm a native of Puri town. I grew up in this town and came back and I'm living in Puri. People are talking about heritage of Puri. Now, heritage of Puri, as Dr. Pani would vouch for me, is really concentrated in the Jagannath temple. Now, there are many foreign tourists who were coming to Puri, not now. Foreign tourists hardly come to Puri these days. But those who come, they actually want to have a darshan of Lord Jagannath from a distance, even from a distance. At that time, there used to be this Raghunandan library as a part of MR Motha complex, which has now been demolished, which has been razed to the ground. I don't know whether it was sound logic to do that, but now the point is that there is no viewing point for the foreigners who unfortunately cannot enter the temple to go and have darshan of Jagannath. How do you handle that? What do you tell the foreign tourist who is coming to Puri, all the way to Puri from USA or Argentina or anywhere in the world, that he cannot see Lord Jagannath, who is a part of the culture of Odisha? What do you tell him? Now, about Konark. Konark is the real crest jewel of Odisha tourism. Everybody knows that. But do you think that Konark is well developed? You tell me. Do you think that? Do we have a 5-star hotel in Konark? Why don't we have it? Why are there so much of inter-ministerial lack of coordination at the state level, at the center state level? Why? Why can't they be resolved? Why can't we project Konark as a real jewel of tourism of Odisha? Because any tourist, I stress this word, who lands in Bhubaneswar must visit Konark and also by default come to Puri. Has to go to Konark and come to Puri and Bhubaneswar, and then out he goes. Now, coming to Puri, you must also bear in mind what is there in Puri besides the Jagannath temple. You have a sea beach. Now, of course, you have a blue flag beach and all that stuff. But before that, our beach was not as good as beaches in Kerala or Goa or anywhere else in India. So it was not a great attraction. So now a person who comes to Puri, he alights from the plane or gets down from the train. He descends on Puri. He goes straight to the temple, has his darshan, and then what does he do? What does he do? Where does he spend the rest of the day? or 2 days or 3 days. There is no entertainment. There is nothing in Puri. After dark, Puri has nothing to offer to the tourists. So why don't you build small entertainment kiosks all over the place? And one point I must stress to you, Mr. Secretary, is that build your arts and crafts traditions. You know, nobody has ever gone to see in what state this poor village is near Puri, which is now the arts and craft, the live arts and crafts tradition. I am talking of Raghurajpur village. Every foreigner who comes to Puri tells me, please organize a tour for me to Raghurajpur. Why? Because Raghurajpur figures in all your tourism journals and books and all that. They have heard about it. But when they go, there is really a pandemonium. There is a chaos. There is loot. People are looted there and they come back. I mean, never to go back again, or never to tell any other people to go back to Raghurajpur again, though they would love to. Why is that? Why so much of anarchy in a village which should have been a model arts village? Why? They can go peacefully and see whatever they have to see. It is a living museum. It has been given that honor as a heritage village at the national level. And it is just 10, 12 kilometers from Puri. Anybody would like to visit there. But besides going there, you mentioned about those food vehicles and all traveling all over the place. Good idea. It is good. You can project Odia food. Why not Odia crafts and cultures? Why not run vehicles with these artisans, these famous artisans of Puri in those vehicles, demonstrating the art form while the vehicles are moving? And why don't they go to the places where you are promoting and they station there and all the people come and see their arts there? Why not? You see, you have to introduce new forms, new cultures. Otherwise, Odisha culture has these trends. If you do not take these trends too far, what are we going to see? As such, Mr.
think, Dr. Mishra, please wind up. Kindly wind up.
Give me 1 minute. There is lack of hotel rooms in Puri, private public partnership, etc. Go for it. But please have an all-rounded development of tourism. That is my urge to you. And if you feel like there should be some people who will advise you on our policies, I am very happy to join there because I have served as ambassadors in a lot of countries. I know the tourism structures in those countries. I'm willing to
Thank you.
whatever time I can. But Odisha tourism must be improved. We have to do a lot more than what is being done currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. We have another person who is interested in making a short intervention. That is Mr. Sanjay Panda, who was Secretary Textile in Government of India, and he was also in Odisha. So let us hear Dr. Panda.
Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar to all. I will be very brief and just share one experience of mine. As all of you are aware, 2014, the new government took over under the leadership of Sri Narendra Modi. And the first meeting the Honorable Prime Minister took on textiles, there was a very specific point relating to tourism. That is to link handloom handicraft promotion with tourism. I was privileged to work under him as Secretary Textiles for about 17 months. All of you know that whatever is decision of PM is, reviewed and acted upon on a very high priority at Government of India. So along with my colleague, Secretary Tourism, his name is Lalit Panwar of Rajasthan cadre, we have issued a joint circular. I would request Mr. Vishal Dev, who is a very dynamic officer, to kindly go through that circular. The circular basically envisages, based on the experience of Mr. Modi promoting tourism and textile handicraft in Gujarat, basically 3 points. First point, and all this is aimed at one point, that is for development of the craft sector and generating productive employment, including the point which our colleague, my former speaker, Mr. Mishra just hinted upon, is to promote the craft sector and generate employment on a large scale. The first point relates to development of tourist destination village. In fact, this is something I have spent lot of time as my stint as Secretary Textile. I made a scheme, and there was some little, personal interest. We identified and zeroed down on development of Raghurajpur village as a craft destination village of Puri. Sir, it was actually 10 crores rupees was sanctioned. I have visited Puri and Raghurajpur at least 5 times during the 17 months, and a project report was made. This 10 crores was 100% grant from Government of India. I only wish that we should have Chief Secretary like Pani Saab that time. Anyway, the short and substance is that one really doesn't know what happened to this project. And if, I wish that, we have to taken into account everything that Ambassador Mishra mentioned, the way the developed villages has been developed abroad to incorporate into this 10 crore rupees. 10 crore is a reasonably good amount, and it was 100% grant. I would be extremely grateful if Mr. Dev kindly look into this as to find out what happened, where that money went, why something did not happen, if we think it proper to fix up responsibility, etc., etc. But more important is how it can be taken to a logical conclusion. That is point number 1. Point number 2 in that joint letter was to develop roadside amenities. Each one of us, mostly we come across the stories of people, applic worker. After that, highway has been made, or most of them are rendered jobless because, nobody goes down the highway and pick up things for them. So the idea was that if state government provide land, then Government of India can develop infrastructure where there can be tourism, where there can be handloom handicraft kiosk. So that the Odisha dance, music, etc. can be played, food can be served, and this thing can come up. In fact, earlier there was a concept of urban hub. So we have modified that urban hub scheme in 2015. That is to give additional amount of 2 crore rupees to the existing hut and to set up new hut by 2 crore rupees. So, like when we go on across Pipli, maybe on either side of the national highway, while going towards Puri on the left side and while coming back from Puri on the right side sort of thing, if 2 such things are done, at least, 50 cash can be made and about 100 people, 100 families can get their bread and butter. This is the second point. The most critical component here is getting land, and that is job of the responsibility of the state government is doing great lot of things with 5T and other things. So maybe this is something which Vishal Dev may kindly look into. Third point was we can have an iconic building at Bhubaneswar so that whoever comes from the abroad or outside and did not have enough time to go to place and pick up handloom handicraft, he can go through this. You must have seen the building which the handloom handicraft cottages CCI is in the Janpath. Similar type of building, something like 4 to 5 floor building, where the handloom, handicraft, music, everything can be put together. So, this was my suggestion, and I am sure Mr. Vishal Dev would look into this thing. I am grateful for giving the opportunity.
Thank you. Now, what I plan is that many points have been made, and I will comment on some of the suggestions which have been made by the speakers, and then we'll throw the house open for discussion. But I'll take about 10 to 15 minutes to share some of my ideas and also make brief comments on some of the ideas which have been put forward. Now, I am an old hand in tourism because, as JK reminisced very fondly and with some amount of nostalgia, that was in the year 84, before when Kashmir was still paradise, and we had the Thai convention where we were able to project Odisha's cuisine, Odisha's craft, and everything. And in fact, we had some people carrying spinach from Odisha for the Odisha dinner which you hosted. So that is that. Anyway, now coming back to the main theme, the problems relating to COVID and the consequent challenges before us has been well mentioned. I would like to first highlight that we have to follow a very clear and targeted policy, and also more bang for the money. That's what is important, that whatever resources, government resources are also strained. So I know that government cannot also spend unlimited amount of money, though tourism has the best ripple effect in terms of employment and generating the economy, regenerating the economy. I would still feel that we should focus on 4 or 5 destinations, which already all of you know. Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar are known as the Golden Triangle, and then we have Chilka now, which attracts very well known. Now the destinations are well known, and we have, nobody mentioned about Buddhist circuit, which is also there. I have a couple of ideas. One is that, as Malay Misra was mentioning, Puri, those of you who are not familiar, or those of you are perhaps innocent about some of the nuances of the Puri's heritage, you will be surprised that Puri has something to offer to everyone. And we are actually not selling Puri as a destination. It has traditionally been a destination largely on account of the tourists from Bengal, and now of course tourists from other parts of the India are also coming, but also not in as large a number as we should have. So there are, I would like to say that Puri has many attractions. I would first say that the festivals round the year, those of you are familiar, we only talk of Rath Yatra, but is there any arrangement for the tourists to see Rath Yatra in comfortable accommodation? Let us think of having 10,000 tourists. That's more than enough. If we can then, we have to therefore provide galleries or some arrangements where the roofs can be converted as temporary galleries, and at 10,000 people can see comfortably Rath Yatra all along the Bodadando in the different, and a scheme can be developed where the buildings, if they are owned by the private people, the top floor or the balconies or even the roof can have temporary galleries where people can watch. Now that answers the question also of Malay. If the people really want to see Jagannath Darshan, they can have during Rath Yatra, which is everybody knows. Because I don't want to get into the controversy about whether people should be let into the temple or not. Let's keep it aside. Second, you have, for example, the summer festival. Chandan Jatra is a beautiful festival, and everybody can come and see Chandan Jatra. That is not at all difficult. That goes on almost 21 days and outside the temple and 21 days inside the temple. It's a beautiful, colorful festival. Rath Yatra is followed by Jhulan. And in many mathas, there is a swing festival of the Lord Krishna and the Sakhis, Radha Krishna and Sakhis. Now, we do not want, if we want to bring people to Puri, we must sell Puri as a destination where everybody can find something during the year. Then there is, of course, the you have the Sai Jatra where the episodes of Ram Leela, and then we have also episodes of Krishna Leela that will keep them busy for almost a month. So this is very important to develop those events as tourism events and sell it. Gosani is one of the most colorful festivals in the world, but we have never sold Gosani as a tourist event. During Dasara, it is one of the most colorful events anywhere in India. So I'm just giving you a brief idea. We can have various circuits, which long time back we had, when I was director PR, secretary PR perhaps, at that time, Pandit Sadasiv Rath Sharma and I went around all the mathas and organized a photo exhibition. Now, within Puri, you can organize small electric rickshaws where they can go around these places and see those things. And we can help each of those institutions to spruce up and make it attractive with a small write-up, and there is somebody who is available to speak about the thing, the historical things and other things. Now, as far as the crafts and other things which Dr. Misra mentioned, perhaps is not aware, we have already a craft complex kind of thing in the urban heart, what Dr. Panda was mentioning, that is known as the Nilachal Hut. Unfortunately, it is in very bad shape. I had given the money when I was DC Handloom, who was looking after this urban heart scheme, and we had also sanctioned one for Konark, which is also in bad shape. Though the assets are very good amount of land is available, the buildings are there. We had also built a food court close to Panthanivas. Now, these have to be revived. I am very happy that the Chief Secretary has taken a meeting and now Handicraft Department is supposed to be in charge. They should now take advantage of the additional grants which is available. But one important strategy I would like to suggest. That strategy is, let these be for the best artisans of Odisha, best artisans of Puri. Puri is the only city in the whole world which has craft streets. Kundeventa Sahi, Pathuriya Sahi, Chitrakar Sahi. Very few people are aware of this. This aspect has to be brought in, and then we should have the, if we can follow some criteria, those who have got awards from the Government of India under the Silpi Master Craftsmen or others, they can be given permanent so that we get the quality product. What happens here is we get people from all over Odisha and they do not necessarily bring the best, and it must become a destination in itself. Food will be available. There is a stage where every day some performance can be take place. So what Dr. Mishra was saying, that what I am saying that can be met. But what is important here is that whatever assets we have got, we must actually capitalize, and asset means something from which you continuously get returns. So these are assets from which you must continuously get returns. And these are the things which have to be highlighted, because one of the big challenges of tourism is to how to extend the stay of the person who is coming to a destination from 1 day to 3 days, from 3 days to 1 week, etc. We have also, many of you may not know, that we have a very good bodybuilding tradition and wrestling tradition in Puri. Why not organize 2 or 3 seasonal events which will be of national level, and then that will attract some way. Or we can also organize in these places, the bodybuilders come and have a short show of 10 minutes, 15 minutes like that during these places. Of course, Odissi is originated from Puri, so that Odissi and the Sahi Jatra as well as the Naga Nacho and Devi Nacho, these can be showcased every day at the, except during the rainy season, in the urban heart, which is the Nilachal Haat. We should also have 2 more hats, one at Barbati and one near Gopalpur, because then they will become viable. One organization looking after them can be viable. Government should give a subsidy for a few years till they become viable, and there should be dedicated management for that. Now, as mention was made by JK about the light and sound show, Narendra Tank is supposed to be the venue for the sound and light show. I don't know where it stands, but the sooner it is happens, then the people will have something to do in the night. Of course, in the evening, they have 2-3 options then, Puri. One is go to the crafts complex. Second, they can come and spend some time in the beach. Third will be having good food in the evening. So like that, we have to keep them engaged, and all this packaging should be done properly. But whatever you promise, you must deliver. If you just promise and don't deliver, that will be counterproductive. Now, Bhubaneswar similarly is rarely treated as a destination. Bhubaneswar, we have to sell in a different way. We had 2005, we had a Ekamra Utsav, which was a long festival where we had international food festival, crafts festival, then a handloom festival, then we had organized heritage walks. So many things were like in the line of the Jaipur festival, which is well known in the tourism sector. So I don't want to go into that. The Bhubaneswar urban heart is being revived. The point which was being made, that should be made in a larger scale. The bigger, the better. Plus, along with that, we will have the street food. Because one of the key attractions of Bhubaneswar is street food for local people. But we can package it and make it as a touristic product. Once that is done, then I think it will provide some attraction. Now, coming to this connectivity issue, I have been very clear in my mind that instead of promoting so many destinations and trying to get a flight directly to San Francisco or somewhere, I think we should have a clear idea, and that should be the unanimity about that. We should, on one side, connect east. Singapore is the best destination to be connected. On this side, Dubai is the best destination to be connected. Why am I saying this? It is one, providing gateway to Odisha, but more importantly, Odisha people will also travel to those places and also get connectivity to the world. So anybody wanting to come from America or Japan, Thailand, they can all easily access through short hop journey, and then they can come to Odisha. But because Singapore and Dubai are destinations in themselves, like people from all over India, I mean Eastern India, they can come and to Bhubaneswar and go. So that can also be something we should think of, rather than trying. I am not sure that Malaysia destination has been so helpful towards tourism. Another thing about the destination, I would say that our Buddhist destinations have never been really properly exploited, in the sense that we have not got as much tourists as we should have. Now, I would suggest that Cuttack can be a destination where people have 1 day's whole activity. How can it be done? You have now the Marine Museum, a unique museum in India on the Mahanadi. You have some boating or water sports facilities there. Then you take a cruise on the Mahanadi, and the people can go up to Dhabaleshwar, come back, get down at Gargadia Ghat, then spend time in the Barbati area, and then there will be an urban heart there also, Barbati Heart, whatever name you can give. They can have an experience of the famous street foods of Cuttack, and then they can, in the evening, they can come back, or they can even stay in Cuttack. From there, that can be a staging point for going to the Buddhist destinations. So we have to think innovatively and imaginatively, and Bhakra Beach, which was mentioned, another big destination. I feel really sad that in 2005, when I was here, we got the Samuka destination off the ground, in the sense that we already identified big investors who were willing to come. I remember Gautam Thapar and his son who came. They are the people who were who own the Ananda Spa. You know, in the Himalayas, it is the costliest spa in the whole, one of the costliest in the whole world, and has a great brand equity. They were willing to come and set up shop in Samuka. Now, Samuka has to be a tourist village with crafts, middle-class hotels, high-end hotels, activities, relaxation, beach, everything. Everything should be packaged to one. Only two things which he wanted at that time. One is a clear road to that beach from Puri road. That has happened, and now I am told it is making some progress, which is heartening to note. But it is 15 years since we gave it some momentum. Another road is connecting to from the towards Konark road. That all of you know that connectivity has also been provided. So Samuka is something we should concentrate, because without such good assets, and we can have a concentration of hotels, accommodation, what JK was saying very rightly, our hotel rooms are inadequate. Now that brings me to another important point. In Bhubaneswar, couple of major hotel groups have come, but we should target at least all the big groups of India, local entrepreneurs also. They should come and set up shop here. I am told ITC has made some progress. Taj Group progress I do not know, but every middle or top class hotel group of India should be encouraged to set up shop here, and if necessary, some tourist village kind of thing area can be earmarked with some 30, 40 acres, 50 acres, where some 20 hotels can be put up. Doesn't matter, with some small convention facilities and all that, some common facilities the state government can do, but rest of it can be done by the private entrepreneurs. Now this is the way to go, because unless you have a threshold of rooms, we cannot really attract large number of tourists. Now, we have also, people have mentioned about road infrastructure and focus on domestic tourism and Jaipur airport and many things, which are of course very, very important suggestion. One of the things I have in mind is that let us forget about this foreign tourist thing as a priority, because even disproportionate effort will go with small results. But actually the hotel industry knows, and all over India, that's the experience, the upward moving Indians spend more money than the foreign tourists. We have very, we cannot really expect the high-end tourists who will go to Goa in those 5-star Taj or Kovalam beach in Chennai and other. Their priorities are different. If we try to compete, we will be spending a lot of money, but we will be getting very small results. So upward moving Indian tourists have to be our target. And once you then start talking to them and try and find out so that they can come and spend time and they're willing to spend. They're all traveling and young professionals. We have TCS, for example, must be having some 100,000 or more people working in 2 or 3 destinations. We can go and market it there. Their Mysore campus would probably have, Infosys Mysore campus would have some 30,000-40,000 professionals. So one has to completely think out of the box and try completely new ways to attract the younger generation, the upwardly mobile generation, and also provide activities which are of interest to them. Because ultimately people, what do they want? They want security, they want some food to eat, they want to see things, they want to see places, they want to buy. These are 3, 4, 5 things that the tourists want to do. And also there have to be special attractions, especially for children and youth. So like adventure activities and other things, we know all these things, these are well known. So I would suggest that that can be the overall strategy. And I would not like to take more time. I would like to open the house now for discussion. We are now, we can have discussion for about 15 minutes. And thereafter we can have the closing ceremony.
Time is already 1 or 2 questions, and then we will go to
Okay.
expert night, I think.
No, we'll come to that.
1 or 2 questions.
Yeah. Let us hear. Only I would like to hear concrete and positive suggestions on this topic. Anybody who wants to hear, they can. Yes, Mona Lisa Panda.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is, actually, we have mentioned about places like Vitarkanika, like Debrigad. These are very crucial ecosystems. These have very crucial ecosystems. So are we looking into sustainable opportunities, like how we can develop and how we can actually include all the sustainable methods, not just rely on the buildings and all everything. We can have all these sustainable tourism concepts where other places, other countries are utilizing. Like Odisha is known for its untouched beauty, and it's untouched because it has natural beauty for which people are attracted. If we destroy the very essence of it, how are we going to attract tourists? Like my concern as a landscape architect, I guess we should include more of researchers into this ecosystem analysis so that ecologists and landscape architects can
give your suggestions.
Yes, sir. My suggestion is to look into more sustainable opportunities for developments in these areas.
Great.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yes. Virendra, you want to say something?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have one point. Sir, I have one point to mention. From the administrative point of view, I had the opportunity of working with you when you were Director of Tourism and also Secretary and Chief Secretary. What I found that whatever projects we took up, those were discontinued after you were transferred. The same logic is also there when other officers start something. After their transfer, the projects were discontinued. This is a very bad precedent. We started about this Mukteshwar festival, the Nekamara festival, but they were discontinued after you were transferred. That Mr. Vishal should take note of it. Whatever good projects are being undertaken should be continued.
Yes, I have mentioned that about the creating some festivals, city level festivals. We have done 2, one for Puri, Srikshetra Utsav, 2006 I think, and 2005 was Nekamara Utsav for Bhubaneswar. There you can rope in even the shopkeepers who can give special discounts, etc., etc. It had various components, cultural programs. Something similar was attempted a few years back, but we need to institutionalize it. We need to institutionalize these things and organizations have to be given specific responsibility who will be sort of owning the brand and who will be sort of coordinating this thing. Good. Anybody
Sir,
else?
what I
I would like to.
I have
what
a
I
question.
continue.
I'm Priyamada. I want to say something very nice to
See,
hear the proposals and
the
everything.
floor is Dr. Priyambada Admadi Mohanty.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to point out one thing which is very important is that we have forgotten about the people, how they deal with the tourists. During my career, I have taken about 20 tourists to all those places you have mentioned. But the way people behave with them, we have to do something about it. Very bad behavior, so it will discourage people from coming here, including, chanda diyo, ye karo, so all these things have to be handled very carefully. People to come here because that discourage. The second thing is you talked about the jatras and all in Puri. A very well-known writer wanted to do a book on Sahi Jatra with me. So when she came, I took her there, and the thing is so undisciplined. They don't know where they will start, when they will dance, when they will go. All these things have to be in order before we can really promote them. I have done my duty in my Gotipua book. I have captured the excellence and grandeur of the Jhulana Jatra. I have given pictures of the Jhulana, such beautiful decorations, each matter trying to outdo others, and the Gotipuas also. So all these things have been dealt with. But talking about the behavior in our Kelusar's village, it was all okay when it started. But what has happened is that people, we have to orient them first. How to deal with the tourists, that has to come before they can go there. These are my suggestions.
Thank you. Thank you. I think one more lady, Ms. Das, wanted to speak something.
Sir, namaskar. Sir, namaskar.
Just a second, Ms. Das. Namaskar. Ms. Das wanted to speak, so I'll first give her an opportunity. Then I'll come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yes.
sir. Good evening, sir. My kind of a suggestion, it's a small suggestion. I have a hotel in Dhamra, very close to the port. And since last 2 years, I've been trying to promote Dhamra as an entryway to Bhitarkanika. And, people didn't know that Bhitarkanika can be accessed through Dhamra, also from Dhamra side also. And I've been trying to promote that. I was also trying to promote beach picnics at Kanika Sand Islands, which have a very unique feature. Only problem has been infrastructure. The roads to Dhamra have been in a very bad state. So I think it's a very particular suggestion, very specific suggestion, but relates to a very broad problem also.
Yes.
That is the infrastructure.
And that I'm told that in Kanika area, the old Rajbati is being renovated to a heritage hotel. I don't know whether that is how far it has gone, but I think Dhamra is certainly a staging point for visiting Bhitarkanika and all this Kanika sands and other things. What was being mentioned by the tourism secretary was about the cruise. The cruise can then also have these destinations. It can stop at Dhamra, one of the destinations. Then
they can they can stay near the port and visit Bhitarkanika, have beach picnics at Kanika Sand Islands, which are very close.
So that is an excellent suggestion. Now we'll have one more, and then we'll close the questions. Last gentleman was.
May I ask a question, please?
Mr. Pradhan. Mr.
Can
Pradhan.
I ask a question, sir?
No, please wait, because we have constraint of time. I'll ask Swades whether we have time. So Mr. Pradhan may kindly intervene, and then we'll see whether we have time. Mr. Pradhan? The gentleman with the blue shirt, I didn't recognize him. What was his name? Gentleman with the... yes, please.
हाँ सर मु कहवाक चाहूँगी आमर बहुत बड़ बड़ प्रोजेक्ट गुड़ाक टाइम लगे करने जो फॉरेन टूरिस्ट माने आसुचंती कि आमर पुरी रु कोणार्क जीवा भितरे कोट गोटे झाड़ा बसिया कहले पाइखना गोटे नाही स्वच्छ भारत भितरे तेणु आमर पुरी भितरे फेस्टिवल करिया भितरे भी टिके टॉयलेट दरकार आपण बहुत गुडे कथा कहले अर्बन हार्ट तो सेमती पड़ीची किंतु किछि टॉयलेट हवा दरकार संगे संगे जदी हेई पाउनी आमे पेट्रोल टंकी जो सब अछि पेट्रोल टैंक ता भितरे केमती से गवर्नमेंट टिके सहायता करी जे गोटे टूरिस्ट रास्ता रे गला बेले केमती से टॉयलेट व्यवहार करि परिबो आ गोटे जे हमर जेके मान सर कहले गवर्नमेंट तरफ रु आमे केमती यूनिवर्सल स्टूडियो डिज्नीलैंड इमान गोटे चिट्ठी लिखिया गोटे बड़ प्रोजेक्ट केमती आसु छोट छोट प्रोजेक्ट तो बहुत अछि मो तरफ रु मु कहूची क्लीन दिनसो टिके neko हवा दरकार अलिया मचा जो जगन्नाथ मंदिर पछपटे चारिपटे तक अलिया पलिया एला टूरिस्ट आसला माने नाकरे हाथ मारकी जाउछन एटा टिके क्लीन ता तो काली परदन हेई परिबो एतिक अनुरोध
No, I think just for the information of all the audience present here in this participants of this webinar, since I have been involved in being consulted for the Puri Heritage Corridor project, all these things are being taken care of because there are enough toilets being provided all around the Heritage Corridor within that 75 meters. So that is one. And in the tourist reception center which will be set up, which will handle the large number of visitors coming to the temple, there will be enough toilets there. But what is important, the toilet is not a small matter. Let me just put it this way. Even in Bhubaneswar, in the city, we must have adequate number of toilets of very large capacities also. Partly for the local people also, because it's a scene of a large number of people, using the roadside for their releasing their, easing themselves is not a great sight. So when you go to Ekamrakan and wherever, everywhere there should be, and this should all be paid for. 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, or it can be given to some advertising and they can give it free service and keep it clean, because doing the toilet is not the important thing, but also keeping it clean. I think this is one area where PPP is certainly something which is Dr. City Control Mr. was mentioning. We can certainly use the PPP, both advertise for the person who is providing the services and advertise our destinations. So I think that is a very important thing. Beach is also, Puri Beach, for example, is also a great, some facilities are being made. The collector had taken me around when I had visited the new beach development they are doing. But that I think has to be done every 500 meters of, 1000 meters. 500 meters I think is ideal, where they should have well maintained also. It is to be very important. Okay, now Swades, I don't think we have time for
absolutely out of time. Yes.
Tell me.
We can request.
I just have a 1 minute suggestion if you are allow me.
Acha, just last two suggestions, just Mr. Pradhan and Mr. Misra, just very briefly.
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. There is a suggestion for Mr. Dev. Instead of, he's correctly said, haphazardly putting 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs here and there. We have lot of undiscovered places at Odisha itself. So Puri Konark is okay. Golden Triangle, we have done a lot of work on that, and that has to be done. But my suggestion is, if we can check out in each district one place, and in each district one place, and we'll try to develop that in a particular way. Instead of putting haphazardly, our brain, our time and our money, if we can concentrate and in a comprehensive way, if we can develop only one spot, then that would be better. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pradhan. Mr. Pradhan? Okay, I think we are not getting his audio. So
I have a couple of points. Dr. Pani, I have a couple of points.
I think this can go on and on. We are running out of time. You can give it in your comments, or just 1 minute. You just give the session quickly.
Jai Jagannath. I'm Dr. Anita Sabar. I just wanted to mention a couple of points. First, please let us have a store at the airport as well as a railway station where Odisha products can be available. The other thing is, it's not possible for all the tourists to visit all the places in Odisha. Many think just 3 places are important tourist spots. But the fact is, we have 30 districts and we can represent them out here in Bhubaneswar. We have the Ekamra Hatta, which is presently getting renovated. So if we can have 30 stores or stalls, each stall representing a district of Odisha, then it will be very good.
I'm sorry, Anita, that is not a viable session. Please understand, if we do not showcase the best of our crafts and then if you have district here, then anybody from district on the nominated, and I have seen what happens in all the urban hearts.
We can have the best of Odisha in Ekamra Hatta. At least one place should be there where the sweets will be available.
We cannot go district wise. We will go craft wise. Because craft wise it has to be done.
Craft I'm saying because right now we should promote this ODOP. That is one district, one product.
Let the people who will
do
be
that,
more
the tourists will get.
1 second. You have made your point. The point is, because I was DC Handloom and I have handled the urban hearts of all over India. The way it started was Delhi Heart. And Delhi Heart people is a destination in Delhi. Anybody who comes to Delhi will visit Delhi Heart and they will have some nice things to buy. You will not find substandard products. But if you go to Puri Urban Heart, I visited also, which is like my child. Konark and Puri are like my children. So there you will not find necessarily the best of products. That is what will happen, and this is, believe me from my experience. Second, please, your turn is over. I'm winding it up. Please, your turn is over. You made your point. Thank you.
Just
now,
one more point.
No, I'm sorry. We have to wind up. You should have come earlier, and earlier you should have shown your hand. Anyway, don't worry. You can put it in your chat and it will be noted. The point is, this is the problem. Populism, every place has a small tourism place, and I would suggest there is a clarity. As far as I am concerned, I have clarity. One is, we have important destinations which we know, Konark, Puri, etc. There may be 30 destinations which the Secretary has said. But out of that, maybe 10 should be in priority 1, which we have to saturate. We have not saturated. By developing all the attractions in these few locations. Let's do it with 10. Then we'll go to 20 and 30. As far as the other tourist attractions are concerned, so-called, many of them are just picnic spots. So let us develop them as picnic spots, and those should be known as the local promoter for local tourism. People from within the district and maybe from the adjacent districts, and those should be picnic spots or a little more, and some basic facilities are to be done. This should be left to the district authorities. Some mechanism should be found to give them the rest. They should develop and manage it, and it should not form part of the larger picture of them. There will be always pressure. Give us more money here, do this, declare it as a tourism site. No, that is not going to help Odisha. Let us be very clear about that. So I think some amount of eclecticism is absolutely necessary if we want to develop. Those countries which have developed have lot of selectivity. Unless you have selectivity, if you are able to develop 10 destinations and to increase the real tourist inflow, we can increase it up to 100-fold. Please believe me, we can believe it up to 100-fold. Just imagine if you have 10,000 people visiting Konark for seeing the sunrise. 10,000 people. You know the tourist bus can take 33 people, 3 buses for 100 people. 1,000 means 300 buses have to be there. Do you have the infrastructure for that? Then, it's like that. We cannot just go on and on frittering away and spreading our resources thin. Though it may sound little harsh on my part to way, but we have to face these realities. If we don't face these realities, I think we will be, just going on and on without making progress. I think with this we'll wind up the discussion. I'm sorry if some people have not been able to speak. I have the unfortunate role of using the guillotine to complete it. We're a couple of minutes to 7 o'clock. I would request first Mr. Vivek Patnaik to wind up, and then the last words by our Dr. Tamotia, who is the real host, in the sense that the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's resources have always been available to think tank, and but for them it would not have been possible to hold this webinar. So I request Dr. Vivek Patnaik sir to give his concluding remarks, and then Dr. Tamotia.
I think Vivek Patnaik is available because he was telling that his network was not working. Let us hope that his network resumes. Hello.
He can use his phone.
He's working on that. Actually, he's working on that hotspot, but I think I'm afraid it is not working properly.
Can Dr. Tamotia then?
Dr. Tamotia, if he is there, he can do, or Dr. Tamotia, or we can request D.K. Roy. He is there. He can speak a few words, please.
On behalf of think tank, as a senior member, he can wind up also. What are his impressions? What are his suggestions?
Mr. D.K. Roy, again, he can also, to save time, he can say also thanks to everybody. That may be his last word. Mr. D.K. Roy, if he is there, please. He was there. D.K. Roy was there. No.
We are not able to connect. Then we can request if Vijayanani is there. Vijayanani can speak,
yes,
and then
yes,
we
very
conclude.
nice, very nice, madam.
Vijayanani, can you hear us? I think we are not able to. So you have to do the.
Okay. Let me thank everybody, sir. A formal vote of thanks by me. Let us thank Mr. Vishal Dev, Professor Misra, J.K. Mohanty to be here in spite of their pressing engagements elsewhere and giving such a brilliant speeches here and sharing their thoughts.
Is General Mahapatra is there? Is he?
No, he's not there. He was telling that he's stuck up somewhere else.
Okay.
And then, sir, I must thank you, sir, Dr. Pani, for taking the trouble of moderating the whole thing and giving your ideas and also sharing your experiences. Thank you very much, sir. And then I must thank Vivek Patnaik. He was the person actually who was behind all these things. He said that it should be like this. So many, many thanks. Unfortunately, we could not hear him because of this network problem. Sorry, not you missed him, but he is there for us. And then thank you very much. And then, of course, all the people, those who are there, the tourist operators, the agents, the hospital, hoteliers, everybody, we are really amazed to see 100%. There were so many people in the waiting room also. They could not enter there. So it is really amazing situation here. Thank you, everybody. And then, of course, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, the technical support, everything they supported, and particularly Swarup for his
Thank the speakers.
And then
thank the speakers, Vishal and JK and others.
First, sir, I said that. Vishal Dev, and I said first. Vishal
No, that should be on record.
Yes.
Your thanks will be on record.
Yes, that's very good. And then, of course, Sadiq is also there. He has done so many technical things. So many thanks, everybody. Sir, special thanks to you, sir. So you can say goodbye to everybody.
The webinar is closed now.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night. Thank you, Vishal, sir. Thank you, Mr. Pani.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Back on?
All of them.